So, why do you think store owners are more scared of raising prices than they are of burning themselves out?
Boutique hustle.
Hello, guys. Welcome to Boutique Hustle Unzipped. This is our second episode of the year, and we couldn't be more excited to be back and bringing you a little bit more of a little Hannah and Sonia action.
Right? So glad to be here. I'm Hannah, and today's episode is Don't Be Scared.
And based on the title, let's talk about pricing fear. Um, so, as we know, costs are up, right? Freight is up, production is up. Let's not mention tariffs. Everything but boutique confidence in charging more is the only thing that hasn't moved. Would you agree with that?
100%. I mean, the wild part is our customers really don't know what our cost actually is because they're not seeing the freight. They're not seeing what those tariffs are charging on our invoices. They're not seeing what minimums is costing for us to even get the product in. They don't see how much it costs us for even packaging our products. I mean, there is so much that is within that cost that our consumers do absolutely not see. But what I will say is that I do feel and find that consumers really do see the value in the brand. And I think that that's something that we really want to dive into today is what does that look like for you as the retailer? Because that is where you really need to decide how you're going to be putting that price on your garments.
Exactly. So, why do you think store owners are more scared of raising prices than they are of burning themselves out?
It is so stressful, but it's like we would literally not give our own self a raise before ever even thinking about putting higher prices on our product. We get so stuck in our ways. And look, I can speak for us too here at Herring Stones. We have like these certain, mental notes of what our tops sell at and what our dresses sell out. And obviously we have reports that tell us what numbers work for what things. Um, but it's so hilarious how, like, we will literally cut ourselves short before ever even thinking the way to make it all work is just to raise the prices a little bit so that our cost is all covered. What does that look like on your end, Sonia?
Well, as deal with clients and I get approached for consulting and advice and all that fun stuff. Um, I'm noticing more now than ever that I think boutiques are realizing that they're gonna have to start raising prices. There's just no way about it. If your costs of goods are going up, everything's going up. Where is it gonna come
Sure.
from? And I know we've talked on this topic a little bit before, but um, this is now more on raising prices, and you have to figure out what brands you're going to do that with, which ones are going to be your margin builders versus the things you use more for volume. But underpricing trains your customer to, like you were saying, undervalue the brands that you have or undervalue you as a boutique. um, as I've
Right.
said before, you change the price, you change the customer that walks in your store. That could go either
Yeah,
way.
it's
Would you
so
agree?
true. But I do think I do 100%. But I also agree that low prices don't equal loyalty. I think consistency does. And then that builds trust. And I think that trust goes a long ways.
Mhm.
And your experience with what you do goes a long way. So at the end of the day, we're kind of speaking on this word brand value. I think that when we're walking into 2026, that's really what you have to hold near and dear to yourself, and figure out what is the value of your business, like the work that you put in. How long have you been in business? Your experience. What are you bringing to the table for your customers to pick you over your competitor? Because at the end of the day, it's not really about the product or that price. It's about what you're offering. And it has to
And
be
the overall
an
experience.
experience. It has
Mhm.
Yes, exactly. Whenever you're shopping in our world, what are your expectations when you walk into a boutique?
You're asking me, like, as from a consumer's point of view?
Yes, from a customer's point of view, if you were to walk from door to door to door to when you're boutique shopping,
Yeah.
what would be your expectations based off whenever you're about to whip that credit card out? Like, what's going to really make you buy that product?
Well,
How
before
about
I
we stop
even
here? Let me ask you this.
okay.
Sorry. Let me break it down a little bit, just more seamless. Let's take one top, okay? You see one top and you're
Mhm.
shopping in your top 3 favorite boutiques. What will make you spend the money on that top in one of the 3 boutiques and why?
So first of all, I'll go back to where I was gonna start is before I do whip out my credit card. Um, I would
One
I
step
would
at a
say the
time.
first thing I look for is the feeling that get when I walk into that store. And so that starts to set the tone. And I guess I don't shop so much, "Oh, I wonder if I could find this for $5 cheaper," because 'cause I'm gonna spend $10 trying to find it $5 cheaper. This is like I don't have that kind of time. And
100%.
I would think
That's right.
most people don't. And when you think you're saving it, unless, like, you're on a mission and you only have $5 and you have to find it for 5, that's different. Um,
Right, right.
you're it's costing way more trying to save the money than it is to just, you know, be in the moment. We love it, buy it. And I see that with wholesale buying as well. I give clients that come in or we go to shows and we walk booths. Almost knocked down my mic. Um, they'll look and they'll like, okay, well, I'll think about it and blah, blah. But when we walked in, they were so in love with like 3 of the pieces. It's like, if you
Yeah,
love it, get it, get
get
it.
it.
Like, go with your gut instinct. But what am I looking for? Again, what will make me, like you said, spend it with one versus the other? Um, I would say, again, it's the feeling. I don't like to work hard for what I'm looking for. If you're having me like, and try to like shove stuff to like pull garments out and stuff like that, like I don't, sounds, I guess, bratty, but I'm not trying to work that hard for, fast fashion. It's
Right.
fast fashion. Um,
That's right. Yeah.
and I love when I see staff trying. I don't want you writing me. I like my space, but I love when I see people trying and like they're trying to engage with you and also give you the space. You know, one versus the other, I don't know. It's in the moment. But I do look for certain things and I want to reward those things. So when I see an employee, like I
Right.
said, working hard to like convince me to, why I should own something, I'm gonna go for it.
Yeah. So that goes back to trust.
Yeah.
So from what I'm hearing from you, you go from feeling, so
Hmm.
that's emotional,
Hmm.
and then you get into trust.
Which we
So
did
those
trust
are
talked
big
about
things
last week.
right, exactly. Those are big things I think whenever you're inside your business that are so important so that that value really stands tall whenever you are putting that price point on your garment that you should, because at the end of the day, it's about what you need to do for your margins. Because if your margins are tight, your decisions get emotional and you start panic buying. I know you know
Hmm.
what that looks like.
Hmm.
Then you start panic marking down, which I know what that looks like. And then what do? We panic chase the trends. What do they have? What does this person have? What does this have? If we don't have this, we're not going to make this, you know?
Hmm.
And at the end of the day, it is about making the right decisions at the very first step. And that is making sure that all of your cost is put into that garment to make sure that you have a bottom line.
Yeah, and I guess I could tie it back to like wholesale buying instead of retail buying. And I guess I should have done that from the beginning, but um, it's having clarity and intention
Yeah.
because that's what creates the confidence, and confidence creates profit, as we know. So I would say
Yeah.
I know what vendors I like for certain products, like without getting too deep into names because I don't want to shout some people and not others. I know which vendor I like for, let's just say, loungy wear, casual. I know who I like for basics. I have a few. I know who I go to for things that I need a lot more margin on, where I want my client to like be able to get 5 times because the product's good
Yeah.
and it's inexpensive. I just know which ones are good for what. And I'm the first one to call out a vendor when if I go to, like, I don't know, let's just say someone I go to for mostly summer goods, spring summer goods, which like we discussed before, their brands are usually stronger one season versus another. And all of a sudden I see a rack with like random basics and all they do are like satin, summer dresses or just cute everyday brunchy stuff. And all of a sudden you see this, you're just like, what what's going on here? Like, it confuses me. And I will tell them, it's like,
Yeah.
what is this? And they'll be like, oh, we're just trying something new and blah, blah. It's like, for who? I'm like, I can assure you that, you know, buyers have a source for that already. And so
Yeah.
we're not thinking about you, oh, let's go to so and so for like basics. Like, so far from our mind to go see that vendor for that particular category. So it just being clear, and knowing which brands do well for you and for what reasons, whether it's pricing, it's the sell through, it's style, it's all of it, um, gets you to like
Sure.
go in and out and get through that get through that booth faster, showroom faster, because you know what you're doing, you know what you're looking for, and you know what you went there for. Would you agree with that?
Sure. Yeah.
Because otherwise you would
100%. Everyone. Oh,
spend all day like,
hello.
yeah,
Yes.
thumbing through hangers, and you're just, like, wasting time.
And that's exhausting too. And exhausted buyers definitely do not make good buying decisions. That's for sure.
Ooh.
But yeah, I think on our end as buyers, we feel like we have to see everything, whenever you are buying.
Mhm,
And I do agree with you. I think having clear expectations when you're walking into your market, magic's approaching. I think a good advice there is to have that list of vendors. I know I've mentioned this before, and I'll do it again because it's a perfect time frame to pull that vendor report and look at your top 10 vendors where you have not only highest revenue but also highest margins, also
mhm,
highest sell through. You have to look at each one and what you still have left on hand. So each one matters because it tells a different story. So you can really narrow down to the vendors that are a must have. It's a non negotiable. And then with time, you can go and kind of search some of your other vendors that you do well with, but they may not be your top performers to make sure that you're not missing any opportunity there.
mhm,
But if you like, I love this conversation because I actually had someone recently tell me how many vendors they went and bought from. It seemed very broad to me. It seemed very wide in my thought process. Do you feel like margins would create better profits by narrowing down the vendor selection? Or do you think you allow yourself more opportunity when you broaden your vendor selection? You kinda told me already, I just kinda wanna get a little bit more narrowed in on that conversation.
I think when you go too broad, you confuse your customer. Like, I know a lot of boutique owners that want to cover everybody and everyone that comes in their store, and that's just not the way that works. That's a good way to get stuck with a lot of products. You
Sure.
are training your customer, what to come to you for. And you can't have everything. Like, if you don't sell swimwear, don't sell swimwear. If you don't have swimwear, then don't sell a cover up. If you don't, it's just
Right, right,
all those
sure.
categories that it just like, oh, well, I know it's spring break and I had a few girls come in asking for bathing suits. And I'm like, okay, great. They should go find a bathing suit store. Are you going to get stuck with bathing
Right.
suits now? Like, that's such a small
Yeah.
window for that. But since you brought up magic, here's a pointer for some of you who are probably newer to these bigger markets. It's you do not have to visit every brand. Like Hannah was saying, make a list, run your reports, say these are my must go to see. N- You know, there's no deal breakers with these. And then I would also allow like literally like take out 2-3 hours of a day and say we're going to just explore. Let's find some smaller brands. Let's see if we can find something that it's different to create giving your boutique a little bit of an edge, having something different than everyone
Sure.
else has. and you get to explore, little brands that are up and coming, and a lot of these brands have some good stuff. They're just not
Yeah.
known. And then you become, you get ahead of it, and then everyone copies you. But, you at Magic at Magic,
And
just
then you're
remember, you're
behind.
not yeah. You're not there to tour, that's for sure. You need to go with a purpose, and I think you'll make better
And a business
decisions.
plan.
Yeah, because otherwise you end up zigzagging. Well, there's Lily's, and there's Fate, and there's Jilly, and there's Buy Together. Oh, I gotta go there, and it's like, follow follow what you went there for, and then allow yourself time to bounce around if that's what you wanna do, and maybe write them down, say, "Okay, this is one we're gonna put as, plan B," and without forgetting to give yourself a little bit of time to explore new brands. And I know this year they're moving over to, Central Hall, which will be interesting 'cause, they're putting everyone in the
Oh,
same building, so that'll be nice because
oh,
I already think 3 days, 2.5 days. Is it 2.5 days? 3.5 days is not enough. And that's me not seeing everyone because I try to see as many as I can in LA before I go there so that I could see the brands that I don't get to see here or there. So I have a whole strategy, but
right.
to definitely avoid the bouncing around or wait till you've covered those brands that, on paper are looking really good for you.
Yeah. Something that just came to my head is, seeing stores close down in the country. Like, I feel like a lot have closed, and I go back and I think, what could have allowed them to stay open? And typically, a store that I see closed and I might go, like, check it out just out of curiosity, they'll sell marginal items. Then I'll go look at their website, and the prices are, like, so low. And that's what I call you priced yourself out of business,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
because you
Happens all
didn't
the time.
put the margin
Mhm.
to be able to pay for your overhead. I mean, there's just so much overhead that goes into retail that I think a lot of people don't realize that you have to make sure that you're getting that, money back in for. We didn't even talk about the operational expenses, and your payroll that goes into these garments as well that has to be covered, you know? So there's just so much, and that's why I feel like really focusing on vendors that you're able to build that margin with, and
Mhm.
putting your dollars in with these vendors is so important. If you are in a situation where you're kinda like on that fine line of, "Do I stay open? Do I close?" Um, Margins is what will keep you sustained in the long run. I
Mhm.
firmly believe that. Several years ago, probably like a decade ago, this is like pre-COVID, I remember being in a situation where you're like, "Okay," like, trying to come up for air, you know? And we decided, I think that's might when we went all, like, full turkey with you, and so it could be even longer than a decade ago. I don't have the exact year, but anyways, we went full turkey, no high-end brands, um, all marginal pieces, and we were able to get in a really comfy spot fairly quickly. So I margins really marginal vendors really do help lots of situations. When you're thinking about first quarter as well, I find that marginal brands really helps get your season started.
Mhm.
One of my strategies is I like to bring those in first, and then I bring in my higher end brands with less margins.
Mhm.
That's a strategy that works for us because I don't wanna put too much of my dollars into my higher end brands and then it not turn as quick when I know that
Mhm.
my turns are on my more marginal pieces, so I'm spending less to have more. So we're able to stock the store more. Anyways, just things to, like, really think about whenever you are making your buying decisions, in the upcoming markets. I think those are strategies that definitely have worked for us over the years, things that we still work on month by month as well.
Yeah, and with that goes also, like, not forgetting about accessories. And again, I know we've covered a lot of these topics, but there's just so many layers to all of this. So, like,
Yeah,
accessories,
so true.
finding new accessory lines, even if they're a little bit more expensive. Um, it allows for you to have a little bit of a different identity from maybe your competitor down the street. Um, and it's okay. Like, it's okay to be more expensive, carry more expensive things. You're going to draw that kind of customer. And that customer usually is a lot more loyal. Um, so
100% agree with that.
yeah. And so like, I think it's important to just look at everything. And then it, back to accessories, it's like, if you don't have enough accessories at a store, which is your biggest, one of your biggest margin, you know, items, like, uh, you know, I always tell my clients, like, you're not selling as much clothing, you're making it up with accessories, and that's like what, 5 to 6, 7, 8 times sometimes if you know how to price things. And so you gotta always have that as a backup. That's always, I feel, gonna save the day. There's always somebody looking for a birthday present for a friend, and they're not gonna buy them something, that may not fit them. So it's always gonna be something safe. It's
Right.
gonna be a scarf, it's gonna be a cute little handbag, it's gonna be a hat, it's gonna be a necklace, rings, whatever. Those I know can save a week because 'cause I've seen it happen. It's like, "I need $2,000 more of accessories," like, we did so well with accessories, and if you look, it's around Mother's Day, Easter, Valentine's Day, but either way, you should
Yep,
always
exactly.
be stocked on that kinda stuff and your 4 pieces.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I definitely think that, especially this time of the year, these things help you get add-ons in, so you're really able to complete full looks, which does
Mhm,
help with your overall volume
yep,
and your overall margin. So,
mhm,
making sure that you have all your departments and categories filled up, also makes a big difference too in, what revenue you're bringing in. So,
mhm,
but I do think, like, right now, starting the year off, we're definitely in a more of a buying season on the wholesale side, prepping, stocking our stores, and really going in with what is your end result and then how are you going to get there. And step one is making smart buying decisions on the front side.
mhm,
Um, and also, I like how you said, like, making sure that you do have something that has a little edge brought into the store. You don't have to put all your dollars in one basket there, but having a little something that separates you from the rest is super important and very smart. But you have to have that plan on the front side. You can't go into this FOMO feeling where you have the fear of missing out on everything and then you just have chaos buying happening. That's where major buying issues come into play and that bites you in the butt on the backside of the season. Been there, done that. So but I do feel like, big brands give you safety and smaller brands give you that identity. And at the end of the day, the value that you bring into your place of business from your customer service, the energy that you have there, and the value
mhm,
that you bring to the table is really what allows you that opportunity to put the right price point on your garments. And it's so important that you have everything thought through on how much you need per item to add on top of the actual cost the vendor is charging you.
for sure, and it's not the employer who pays the wages, it's the customer. So if you're not priced right, you're gonna end up paying the wages, and that's not how that should be working.
Yes, so true.
That goes for anything,
I
literally,
like
anything in business.
yeah, I really like that we're having this conversation at the beginning of the year too, because it does kinda, like, put into perspective, like, how you could even ease in if you're in your comfort zone and you're, like, too scared or stressed to make that move in product pricing, it's a good time to start, like, edging in. You could do a
Mhm,
dollar or 2 at a time and see, because I promise you, I bet come April, you look at some of those products you added a few dollars to,
mhm,
they're probably sold out.
mhm,
Another thing is too, like, I know for us, like, just say a tank top. Okay. We need tank tops in our store just to, like, for layering and stuff.
mhm,
And they're not super expensive on our end. And we don't put extravagant margin. I mean, like, price on it. It's not like we're going to sell it for $68 or anything, but we put a margin on it because at the end of the day, like, there's been times where I was like, I'm only like, I feel like I can only do our normal markup on these tank tops, so I'm gonna put them at, you know, $15, and they sit there because our customer's like, "Ooh, $15." Like, that price point doesn't even work
Yeah,
in the store next
that's the
to our
thing.
brand.
Yeah.
Right, and so
And it's
it's
not
like
as
you have to
attractive.
correct. So
People
because
are gonna pay
in their
more for
mind, that
stuff because yeah, they're like, "Oh, I need to have this because it's, like, so expensive, so it must be good." When it's cheap, it's like,
right?
I can go to Target and get that."
Exactly, exactly. So you do have to put the right price on the product that you choose and hand selected because obviously you're hand selecting to know what will work in your store.
Mhm.
So that's a strategy in itself. And then another strategy is that you know the price that you're giving is allowing you the margin to put on the garment that will pay for your freight and the tariffs and your overhead costs and your payroll and all the things to make the business work day to day.
So,
And
let me
that
ask
at
you
the
a
end of the
quick
day, it's
question
profit first. Yes.
for sure. So, I mean, I know I know the answer to this question, but for listeners, um, what what keeps you or in the past, what has kept you from raising your prices? Is it your competitor down the street? Or what is it that you're justifying?
I have 2 things. 1 is competition and 2 is fear. And I think one bleeds into the next. But yes, I think it's the fear of a competitor having it 10, $20 cheaper than you down the street or online or whatever.
Yeah.
I know. And then there's times yeah, to the bones. There's times where I've actually
Mhm.
gone and been like, okay, I have this product. And then I'll go, I've called you before. Hey, what was the cost on this top or this dress? Well, why is my competitor selling it
Mm.
$20 less than us?
Yeah. So this week, which is why we decided to do this topic, I helped a client. We kind of went back and forth about what brands can go up, which ones kind of have to stay stable. And one of the things to look at is the popularity of a brand. Something like Intro, which is like it's out there a lot and good for them. Something like that, you probably have to be a little bit, you know,
You got to stay
more
competitive.
conscious.
You can't, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
But again, if your overhead is way more, you got to get it from the
Yeah.
government. If
You
your
also
rent's
you
more.
can't be scared. Yeah. Because
Hmm.
once again, I see other people who have Entro and they're not putting the right price on it regardless, and you can't, like most people can't compete with that price. Like at the end of the day, they would be out of business. But, and then another thing is like you can't also, if you think of Entro, how can you possibly keep up with every single boutique who has Entro, what their prices are on that
You
product?
can't.
You
You
can't.
can't. You can't even
Like
worry about it.
it's the impossible. You have to really do what works for you,
Hmm.
but to know in your brain, like, okay, this is everywhere. So, but what works for me? I mean, I know what works for us with Entro. It sells. We don't have issues with it. We don't have it left over. We have great sell through there, but we don't overprice it, but we definitely don't underprice it as well.
Hmm.
We do what works for us, and it's that nice little medium price
Right.
point.
And then
So,
you look at the
yeah,
popularity of the brand. You look at, you know,
yeah, so true,
um,
so true.
how saturated they're on the market. They
Yeah,
might be around for a long time. That's something we looked at. Like there's a brand that's been around for a good amount of time, but they've always just kind of stayed here, and they're good. Um, Nothing crazy. They're just good and solid, and it's like
yeah.
it kind of stays under the radar, and you gotta love those because you can mark those up a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. And that's where the research comes into play, but there's more research
Hmm.
than just what you see in the showroom. It's actually giving the brand a chance, buying enough so you even see what the result is. Cause then there's some things because when people buy too broad, and we've been down this too, but bought too broad, so a little here, a little like a little dabble do you never really gave the brand a fair chance to even know
Hmm.
what the opportunity in that brand it even was, you know?
Mhm.
I've liked seeing and, not sharing all my secrets, but I've liked seeing some brands that we've done business with for so long, where we dabbled, but then we dabbled a little bit more, a little bit
Mhm.
more, a little bit more, and
Because
then we're like,
it kept proving
"Whoa," because
itself. Yeah.
that's right, over and over and over again, and so that's always fun to kinda see too, but that's where the risk of retail we also play Russian roulette every day, so, comes into play
So
as well,
yeah,
but
and if you're newer and you go, "Oh, we gotta carry that line," like, again, I don't wanna beat up on intro because I think it's a great line. It's just maybe that's not where you start. Maybe you just start with it with just a little bit of it, and then you start to feel what your customers are looking at for.
right,
Maybe it's plenty out there where it's refreshing for somebody to come in your store and see different brands that it's not at every other boutique they go to.
every pla yes, yeah.
And sorry,
I do think
vendors,
there
with
was a
lots
second
of love. We're not hating on anybody whatsoever. It's just, when you're in these small towns and you own these boutiques that are, like I said, 5,000 person town, that's the size of my neighborhood, basically. It matters
right,
when, you have too much of one. But as long
right,
as you stay
exactly, 'cause it
consistent and
doesn't have
loyal, if it's working for you, it's perfect.
absolutely, you wanna definitely have the right amount of each brand that you carry so you differentiate yourself from the next person, that's one
And
thing that
enough
is,
of
like,
it
so
to
sour to my ears.
yeah,
It's whenever somebody says, "Oh, I'm just seeing the same thing everywhere I go," and I'm like,
because you are.
like yeah, exactly. That's whenever as a buyer, you're going, "Oh, nope, nope, not no mo." You have to hurry up and get those other things in to really get you staying ahead of everyone else 'cause it's a race. I mean, it's a race in this industry. That's for sure. But,
Well, and
it
also it's
is
okay to let like I think it's also okay to kind of pull back either on a line or give it a rest for a little bit. Sometimes, you know, regardless of the brand, it kind of stays a little bit of the same, a lot of recuts, you know,
yeah,
not changing too much. And so like you're like, oh, let me give this a rest and let me use some of this money to go try something different. And maybe you come
different.
back
Yeah,
and revisit this or you buy way less, and then you just got discover that another brand is performing even better. So, like, you can't just keep adding. You gotta, like, move things around
build.
and just I keep hitting my mic today for some reason. Really close. But, it's okay to, like, drop one, pick up another one, or pull back
Yeah, sure.
quite a bit on
Absolutely.
one, and then going a little deeper on another one that's proving itself.
We do
And
that
that's
all the time.
maybe
All the
by
time.
season. Yeah, because as we mentioned again,
It's
spring, summer lines certain lines are stronger for spring, summer, and then there's others that are fall, winter. So you're gonna pull back there and
yeah,
and then, come back to it when that season comes back around. But also don't get bullied into like thinking you're gonna lose the line unless it's like a one of those showroom lines where it's like they're territory driven and zip code protected. That's a whole nother story, but
uh-huh.
no one's gonna reject a PO from you, I promise, if you walk away. I mean, will it open, you know, for somebody else to have it down the street? That can happen either way, whether you have it or not. There's no guarantee
Yep. I
that
have
it wouldn't happen.
experiences from that. That's a whole nother topic we'll have to get into, but you can't run your
I
business
know.
scared
I always
and
have to go
frightened
fight for you
and feared
guys.
of that either. I know.
It's like,
We can't
here I go.
we can't worry about that because we
Here's
have to
what I
keep
will say
on
too.
trucking, keep
That's
on
right.
moving.
Yeah, because like you said, your mom will be like, "Go find out, like, I think getting some kind of discount, blah, blah," and it's like, regardless of the discount, it's it's not big enough for it to be that big of a price difference.
So
Like,
that's
there's
right. So true.
this much discount, and, like, this much discount. There
Yep.
ain't this much
Right.
discount to where it's allowing them, you know, to sell it for that.
That much margin
They're just selling
decrease. Yeah.
themselves short, I promise you. Period. Don't
Yeah.
period.
I agree
And
with that as well. I agree with that
yeah.
as well. Hey, look, I'll be honest too. We still have room to grow in increase in ours, based off all the increases in the economy. And it is a struggle. You do get like very set in your ways and we know it works and we don't want the customer to think, we're overpricing anything. And when it is just about making sure that stay sustain oh my gosh, my words. The
Mhm.
sustainability can continue forward um with everything. It's a great conversation today. I'm glad we actually had it because it allows us to even go back to the drawing board for 2026 and make sure that we
Mhm.
have everything factored in. Uh,
A and
we have to
also
tie this in a bow, Sonia.
but also what I was gonna say to end that is when we're telling our experiences, sometimes we have to listen to ourselves and be like, "You've, kinda gotten off your path a little bit," like, we're
Yeah,
kind of bringing that advice back. Again, magic's
absolutely.
coming around the corner. Create a plan. Create a plan. Say hi to your vendor friends. Doesn't mean you have to place an order. You just go with the strategy and then cover your other bases and do a little discovery. Always give yourself time to discover, whether you find things or not.
Yes.
It at least allows you
My final
to
thought
see
is
what else is out there.
absolutely. My final thought on this one is before market, print out a vendor analysis report. Look at your top 10 vendors with revenue, sell through percentage, margin
Mhm,
percentage, and on hand percentage. This will definitely, and you can do your top 30 and then narrow it down, but I would
mhm.
get to like 10 to 15 of your strongest vendors, and that's where you start and put all of your energy in. And then you could jot down the other ones that you don't want to miss out on just to keep you differentiated from your competitors. But yeah,
And to close that
it's
out,
all good.
even if you put them on your list, you may walk in there and be like, "I'm not loving this collection." That's okay.
Don't buy it.
Don't
Yeah,
force yourself to get it.
absolutely.
Even though the numbers say
Yeah.
this, maybe that collection was way stronger, um,
Yeah. So
but
true. Very good point.
walk away. Well, thank you guys for
Love
your
it.
time. I actually have to go put money in my meter. I didn't park 'cause
And
in
I
my
have to
normal
go
spot
get
because
kids
I
from school.
oh, there you go. Yeah, I was in a rush to get up here and, yeah, so anyway, we appreciate your time, we appreciate your listen, loving the messages we're getting, the feedback, and, we're working hard at getting better, and yeah, continue giving us those topics so that we can cover things that might better interest you.
Yes, love it. So good to see you, Sonia. See you next week. Can't wait for our next topic. This is the Boutique Hustle Unzipped with Sonia and Hannah. See y'all next week.
Bye.